Hi, coach.
How you doing? We're in.
Hey,
We made it.
and we're live, guys.
We made it.
Finally.
I got Mike here.
Yeah, Mike. Hi, Mike.
Enrique on the other side if we
Enrique.
need anything.
Hi, bro. Sorry for always trolling you. Coach, so many people just joined. Guys, if you don't know, he's one of the most respected coach right now in the world, training many world champions, and we respect him like a father. So, guys, please ask your question if you have anything. I didn't prepare, coach, anything because I wanted it to be fluid. Just go with the flow, because if I will prepare anything, I thought it will become more rigid. So let's see whatever comes. And first of all, how are you feeling, coach? First, talking to Indian crowd, say something, please.
Aces. Yeah, everything's good. I like the choice of words. I feel we're gonna keep the conversation fluid. Fluid BJJ.
Yeah, that's why. True.
So yeah, guys, don't hesitate to ask questions about anything, hopefully related to jiu-jitsu. And I have Enrique on standby if we have to do any specific techniques.
Cool.
Lurkaran on as well from Chandigarh. Where are you located? Where, Anand, where are you located?
So, coach, I'm right now in India. There is a province north of the India called Haryana. It's just nearby New Delhi.
Okay.
It's on the north side.
Okay.
So, coach, I will start with one question. What should be the progression for beginners like us in jiu-jitsu? Because I see and hear you describing or explaining it many times on your live session, but I want everybody else to hear also. So, what should be the progression?
So initially, you want to make sure you try to get your two things. You want to get the best coach possible, but you also want to train with a coach that you have a comfortable relationship with. You want to be, when you train, it should be, training is hard, but it should also be fun. You should enjoy training. It's hard to train for 20, 30 years or even 5 years if you're not having fun, if you're in an environment where you're not enjoying the environment. Now, the second thing is sort of the technical aspects. You should try to get the best technical coach, but also understand that, you know, in some places it's not as available as it is in Brazil. Who's getting hit with a bottle? That is, you know, so you want to have a good environment, good coach, okay? Now, initially you will start to learn just some fundamental techniques, some fundamental things, but eventually as you get better in jiu-jitsu, when you start to get good blue belt, good purple belt, you will start to develop your own game, your own style of game, meaning such a thing as, you know, how do you attack, you know, how do you dominate, how do you defend, and so forth. And that's very dependent on your size, your body build, your personality, and so forth. So again, try to find a good school. Even if you've never trained before and you walk into a school, you can usually tell if it's a good place for you or not. So that's
really insightful.
One other thing that I like to say is a lot of people get very frustrated with their progress, and sometimes things are not working, and that is normal. That is natural. I've been there myself, and it's very difficult. Do you understand that when you look at other people, you kind of looking at somebody that's been training a lot longer or might be more talented. So don't look at them. Look at yourself. Your progression is your own. You will progress at a rate, you know, how much you put in, but also, I'm not talented, but some people are very talented. They'll see move, boom. You know, 3 days later, they're nailing high-level black belts with it. For me, it takes longer to figure it out and to play around with it, but I have to train a lot. You have to drill. So if you're one of the less talented like myself, Make sure you drill a lot, and you know it's okay. You will catch up, guys. It's a long distance race. I've been doing this for a long time, and if you try to pay attention to other people, that's what competition is for. But also try to pay attention to your own development, and every time you come and train, focus on doing one things a little bit better or learning one or two. That is the
It's okay, coach. We can see you now. The video was stuck
okay.
for a minute, but it's
Okay. Could you hear what I was
so.
saying?
Yeah, that was very insightful, coach. Because that's the thing, no. Most of the people thinks how they can progress fast, taking shortcuts and all, uh, thinking or focusing more on the bats instead of working on their techniques. So my coach taught me this way, and I'm also teaching my students the same way, that you have to work on your technique first, perfect your technique, and the things will follow up.
Yeah. Yes. It's you know it's very common for people to try to take shortcuts, but the shortcuts will eventually catch up with you. Because if you take shortcuts, there will be holes in your game, and the holes will eventually be exposed. Understand that everybody that is good at jiu-jitsu or good at anything had to put in the work. Sometimes people say, oh, you know, this guy is a black belt in only 5 years or 6 years. But understand that for whatever reason, they made a choice, and they had the ability to train 7 hours a day every single day of the week. So that person is putting in 50 hours of training a week.
Exactly,
That's
coach.
500 hours in 1 year. You know, people that are active hobbyists that can be very good might put in 5-7 hours a week. They will make, if you put in 7 hours a week, that's 350 hours versus 2,500 hours of the other guy. So you have to understand, at the end of the day, it's mat time, drilling, training repeatedly. Some people don't have the ability. Some people don't want to do it. They just want to have fun and enjoy the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts journey. Some people may not they have to work 2 jobs, so they just kind of have to work on the side. It's okay. Whatever your circumstances are, you try to be the best version of yourself. Try not to take it too seriously, meaning, you know, sometimes I used to do this, that if I came in and maybe I was tired, or maybe, you know, I didn't do well, I didn't roll well, my game wasn't good, I wasn't too happy, I'd walk out and say to myself, oh, you suck, you're terrible, you know, you should do better. That's a very bad outlook. I did it, but nowadays, not so much. You have to take a more optimistic approach, meaning that go in and your job is to try to do a couple of things better or work on a few things. So maybe your training partner friend that normally you tap in 3 times, he taps you, and you know, you go and then you have a day where he taps you 5 times and you don't tap him at all. That shouldn't be defining that training session. You shouldn't be going home like, you should be analyzing a couple of things. You should be saying, okay, I worked on this new move. I know I don't have it well. And that's maybe why he caught you. But you understand, you're going out of your comfort zone. You're adding on to your game, whereas he might be going with the same thing over and over. Eventually, those things you're working with will start to work for you. And now, instead of tapping him 3 times and he tapping you once, you tap him 8 or 9 times and he's not tapping you, because eventually those things start to work for you. That's how you develop your game better. So don't just try to do the same thing over and over. So you have to try to incorporate new elements, but don't try to incorporate everything at the same time. It's hard.
That's actually, it's funny that you said, coach. That's actually happened to me also in the starting. When I started, I wanted to learn everything. Like if my coach was explaining one thing, I was running there and watching him. If somebody was explaining something else, I was running there and watching them. But then at the end of the day or next day, I was forgetting most of the things because it's hard to absorb all that knowledge and retain it, you know. And
Yes.
and the second thing is also very true. We have to go through that bad phase is first before getting it better, right? So
Yes.
first, our things for sure this will not work. So it will not work for a day, for a month, for a year, but it will start working, right?
Absolutely.
So before 4 or 5 years when I started, oh, I was getting smashed all the time, and like I'm anyway 60, 62 kg guy, so it was really hard time for me. But I didn't give up because my coach was so supportive, and my seniors were supportive. And the thing is that slowly and slowly the things started working, like you said. I kept practicing it, and now I don't practice too many things. I just focus on little, like let's say 1 or 2 techniques, practice them, and then move on to another, maybe next week, and next week something like that.
Yes. Learning is incremental. It's very important for people to understand that. And a lot of people in the early stages of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu get overwhelmed because there's so much to cover. And eventually, the feeling of being overwhelmed, they may quit or try to learn everything and learn nothing. So incremental learning. And, you know, usually when you go to the academy to learn, you will learn, you know, whatever the coach is teaching that day. So try to absorb those things. And if you're rolling, if you're sparring, try to focus on some things that you're trying to work on to make it a little bit better. We have a
Cool,
question
coach.
from Sen.
Yeah, we have few questions.
Yeah, we have a question. Sir, my age is 11, so I need my glasses. So how much time should I train to be good at jiu-jitsu? So if you're 11, you could train a lot. If you have time, if you don't have a job or you don't have school, you can train. So you can train a lot. I would recommend, you know, if you first start out, try to train at least 3 times a week. If you can, if you train longer, you may train 5 times a week. Guys, consistency is more important than trying to pack everything together. I have in my academy, I've had students where they walk in and say, "Fox, I love this. I want to live here." And they're in fundamental classes. They will take a fundamental class. They cannot be advanced class yet, but they will sit there, take notes for advanced class. They will be at the academy for 3 hours, 6 or 7 days a week for 6 weeks, and they're gone. And then I have some other student, maybe he's a middle-aged father with family, has responsibilities, has a job, trains 3 times a week, every week for 3 years. Guess what? In 3 to 5 years, that guy's going to be really good. Not just good, really good. So
coach, this kid. So coach, this kid who's asking the question, I'm saying the kid who is asking this question is my student, and he recently won gold medal in ADCC India. So he's really good. He really wants to learn, but he's still like a panda. Anyway, he's showing up like maybe 8 or 9 times in a week, morning and evening both.
That's awesome. Yes, you will get good for sure if you stick with this. That's at the end of the day, how many times you train is less important than sticking with it. Like everything else, if it's important to you, if you want to learn it, stick with it. That's more important than somebody that sticks with it, training 3 times a week, will eventually get good. Somebody that trains 20 times a week and sticks with it with 6 weeks will never be good.
Okay, coach. So next question is again from my student. He's asking, it's a girl. He's asking, it's a girl. She's asking for what should be the focus for the beginners in the starting, like we talked already in the starting, the key factors.
Fundamentals. Try to learn the basics, and also two is learn to be comfortable being in uncomfortable positions, because you don't know how to escape bottom of cross side, but it's going to be a lot easier if you're relaxed and comfortable bottom cross side than if you hyperventilating, trying to shut the guy off, and after a while you give up. So one of the most important things is, sorry guys, I keep shifting my, my legs.
That's okay, coach. No problem.
It's good. So I lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
so
we were talking about the fundamentals.
That's one of the first things you learn. And then, you know, when you're trying to escape bad positions, you will learn, try to use technique. Don't try to, you know, people when they panic, and it's happened to me all the time, it's usually bigger, stronger guys that are not used to being in those positions. They will start to just kind of like, okay, they cannot escape because they don't understand, they don't quite fully have the technique developed yet, and then they panic and they just try to, and then they get arm locked. But a lot of times, good training partners can help you. If the guy on top says, listen, calm you down, you will not escape like this. You will not bench press, you're going to get arm locked, or you're going to get mounted. So if they calm you down and say, okay, you already have your frame now, just try to plant your feet and move your hips further away, you're going to have an easier time. Oh, now you start to calm down. That's one of the most important things for a beginner, is to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and then try to think what you learn and do what you learn. Eventually, you will start to do it automatically. Over time, as you become
That's
more,
true. That's
more
really
skilled,
true, coach.
things have to become.
Yeah, that's actually, I feel like it's a really big factor, because if we get comfortable, if you can feel calm in uncomfortable situation, we can think more, right?
Yes.
If we are in hyper situation, mind doesn't think straight. So that's why I always tell and encourage my students to practice meditation. It's at least that can make your mind calm, and try to learn at slower pace. Don't like push so hard, especially your juniors. Let them feel and think in the starting that how should I escape? How can I solve this problem? How can I find the solution for this?
Yes. Yes. How can you, it's ultimately Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is about problem solving while you're under pressure or duress. So you have to be, you know, have a presence of mind to be able to do that. Now, once people, the next level of improvement is, that's the absolute beginner. The next thing is when people develop a little bit of technique, then they expect to go train with people that have been training a lot longer. And when I say a lot longer, guys, there's a difference between sort of chronological time frame, how long you've been training. So if you've been training for 3 years, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu once a month, okay, how many mat time hours you have? 150, right?
Yeah.
That means nothing. So, you know, people in their mind start to think, I've been training 3 years. Well, you've been coming for once a month. You have 150 mat time hours. A guy that trains, you know, 4 times a week for 1 year has 200. He already has more mat time hours, and they're more consistent, more packed together. There is some diminishing return. So if you train 10 hours a day, every single day, you're not squeezing out anything out of the last 2 to 5 hours. So you have to understand, you know, the training regimen, how many times a week you should train. And that's different for different people. But also understand, even if you train consistently, if you train 3 times a week, which I define, you know, consistently training is 3 times a week, you know, pretty much every week, unless some emergency or something. For 6 months, and you go to advanced class and you roll with a blue belt who's been training for 2.5 years. For some reason, sometimes people think, oh, I know how to do this. I should, you know, and they expect to do better against this guy. That usually doesn't happen. Yes, sometimes fluke happens, or maybe the blue belt or the more experienced student lets you work and lets you kind of do things. But also go in with the mentality that, okay, I still need to learn. Every class where you fight is either competitions, or, you know, sometimes we fight with some of our training partners. We have this kind of relationship. But most often you need to have a good relationship, good training partners. They kind of encourage you to grow. In my academy, we encourage people to help everybody, each other, because if I catch Enrique with something, I'm looking at him right now. If I catch him with something, I tell him how I did it, he will develop a counter a lot quicker. Guess what? If he develops a counter, it forces me to get better to develop a counter to his counter. So guys, I encourage you also to have a cooperative attitude within your academies. Your training partners are your teammates, your friends. Yes, sometimes you will go like this. Sometimes you may have to face your teammates in a competition. But generally speaking, the more you give, the more you get back in return, because if your training partners are getting better, you will get better yourself as well.
That's true, coach. That's really true. And the other thing is, even if we are training like six days a week or maybe 2 times a day, some people's they just wants to go hard all the time. And I'm always trying to tell them that's not the way to go. If you go hard, maybe 1 day or 2 days, and then you feel like drained, your body cannot respond. And sometimes, coach, it's really funny. Sometimes my friends, my like senior or blue belts of my level, they ask me, why are you not training with us every day? I'm just telling them I'm afraid of you, because I cannot say like I had the hip bone injury in the past. I'm a deep sea diver also, coach. So I was diving one time, I cylinder hit my hip bone and it was cracked. So anyway, I just don't want to go hard every day. I want to work on my techniques also with the maybe 4-stripe white belt or maybe 3-stripe white belt. It's not. It's all not the ego thing for me that I have to kill every day, go hard and go home drained feeling.
That's a very good point. It's funny because that's a point of pretty big debate. I don't believe in going hard every day, because when you go hard every day, it becomes more of an issue for guys after 30. Okay? I think if you go every roll and go hard, you rob yourself of the opportunity to fine-tune your technique, because you have, it's a match. It's not a problem-solving session. And some guy, my philosophy, I think you're a better man than I am, because usually I have certain days that I want to go easy. You know, I usually go, my weekly regimen, it's completely different now because we're in the lockdown and I'm filming every single day. But normally my Sundays are medium to hard. My Mondays are always hard, and I teach a bunch of classes. Tuesdays are medium. Wednesday, Thursday are usually soft. That's my recovery. And then Fridays is usually medium to hard, and Saturdays soft. That's my usually weekly regimen. And when I'm trying to train soft, maybe my body's banged up. And if you're constantly banged up, you're not working on good things. If you just start to work on defense, you're just trying to survive. That's great. There are days when you need to just survive. But if you work on just surviving every 3 months, and that's different for high-level belts versus kind of starting out. When you just start out, you're just trying to survive. I mean, by just basically be comfortable, be uncomfortable, trying to escape. When you're a higher level guy, and you're just trying to survive for 3 months, what do you think is going to happen to your game? If you go into a tournament or into a fight, you're going to be in a survival mode, because that's what you've been doing for the last 3 months, instead of trying to hone your attacks, your own offense.
Exactly, coach. Right.
Yeah. The other thing is if somebody, lately it's rare, but if somebody says, hey, I've had instances of that. I remember one time, pops in my head, it was a 235-pound guy. And the guy's been training 9-10 years. This is a few years ago. So he had knowledge. And I walk around probably right now 155, 160 is my normal walking around weight. And he wanted to train with me. And I said, listen, I'm banged up. I don't want to train with you today. You don't know how to train, flow roll or train soft. No, we're going to go. Don't worry. There's 3 lies in Jiu-Jitsu. How long you been training? Because some people have been training for 8 years, but they say they've been only training 6. Other people say I've been training 8 years, but they only have about 6 months of actual mat time. How much do you weigh? Again, usually people either overstate or understate. And let's go light. So usually
the last one is actually.
So of course, I usually give guys like that, I'll give you an opportunity to just, I literally feel the intensity within a second. So as soon as he elbowed me in the head, it was on. I caught him in a choke, and now I don't know if it's a word in India, I'm pissed now. So I'm squeezing and he's tapping. I'm not quite letting him go yet. So the point is, like, a lot of times I will tell people this, like, listen, today's my easy day. I don't want to go with you, but if you insist, I will oblige, but you will not enjoy this. And they don't. And sometimes they complain about it. So the other thing is, and this is the reason why I wrote the book, Fluid BJJ. It's a play on words. It's, if you go bang heads like this every single day after 30, chances are you're going to be just barely dragging, and your game is probably very rudimentary and kind of what I call like a goonish game. Like, you're not trying to improve, you're just trying to, use strength and intensity, for lack of better technique. So a lot of guys, what happens when they get tired, especially after 30, there's a big debate on low grappling. 3 guys were had a panel, and I think on the panel they didn't have like a high level guy, like if you look at guys like Gary Toner, like high level guys, they'll turn it up. If you want to go hard, they will go hard. They're there to train, and they need, ultimately it's about accumulation of. And if you're in a camp, you have to, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you're gonna train hard, you're gonna work high intensity. But normally, when you're just normally training, you're training to accumulate technique. But I remember these guys, like, I don't believe in flow rolling, because they think they're tough but I know how they train. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go balls to the wall for an hour and a half, and then then I can't move the next day, and then I'm gonna take 2 days off. And then I'm gonna repeat. Then I can't move again for 2 days. For 2 days, I'm gonna take 2 days off. And I'm gonna go balls to the wall 3 days a week. Whose game after 10 years? Guess what? If that guy, let's say both are same level black belts, if that guy goes on the day after his rest day against a high level black belt who's banged up, he might do better than than his game is. But if he tries to go against that guy the day after when he's a little bit banged up, he's going to get crushed, because his technique, after 10 years of doing this approach versus the other approach, I believe this guy will have a significantly better game. And that's what I aim for. My game, I call it Fluid BJJ, because literally I like to train in the water, but literally 2-3 times a week I will train in the water because my body's so banged up. It's better for me to train in the water. It's helping my game get better than if I just not train, take the 3 days off.
That's true.
So I'm a
That's
big
true.
fan of your approach too.
That's why I know, coach. I'm always also encouraging my friends to go in swimming pool with me, because I told you I was a diver in like deep sea diving and all. So I love training in water also, but it's really hard nowadays in India, because it's not so many swimming pool, and even in Corona time, it's not so much available right now. So
Yeah.
but training in the water is really fun, and it helps, especially our joints, no, keep lubricating and getting like less injuries, more recovery, and all.
And more technique. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's about accumulation of technique. And
Exactly,
you got to
coach.
figure out what's the effective way for you, for each individual person.
True, coach. So, coach, next question is again from my senior. He just listened to my question and he's laughing. He's asking that, so how much amount should we spend with the higher beds, and how much time we spend with the lower beds, like active drilling and all?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes. So what you want to do is it's a very good question. It depends. When you're a white belt just starting out, you have no choice. Chances are you're going to be working with higher belts. But when you're a blue, purple, brown belt, you should have a mix. When at blue, you're still going to be working probably a little bit more off defense than offense. But as you get to purple and brown, you need to, everybody wants to roll with the high level belts. That's kind of like everybody just wants to go with the highest level guys. The problem with that is chances are you're constantly working your defense as opposed to offense. So depends how high level you are. If you're high level, even if you go with other high level guys or same color belts,
He is purple belt, coach.
Say it again.
He is purple. He is purple belt, coach. He is purple belt, coach. Purple.
Oh, purple belt. Yeah. He should be working about half and half because you still want to have good defense against the higher level guys, but you need to work with your offense. That's one of the things that sort of mentally people are happy to train with high level belts, and everybody wants to train with high level belts, which is great. But also understand if you make that part of your daily diet, your defense is probably going to be phenomenal, but you will have no offense. So when you go with a guy at your own level, you know, you're going to be able to defend everything he throws at you, but ultimately you want to make submissions. So I would strongly, you know, at pro level, you should probably doing half and half, or maybe even 70% offense, 30% defense. You know,
Cool, coach.
and you know, you should tell him. You probably know his game better. Is his defense very good, or his offense very good, or where does he need more work?
Yeah, I'm always talking to him about this thing. He's way athletic than me, and he's very good at attacking. Like his defense is also good, but he is more successful when he attacks, like more active approach.
Yes, I like that approach because you know, you should tell him. You probably know his game better. Is his defense very good, or his offense very good, or where does he need more work?
Yeah, I'm always talking to him about this thing. He's way athletic than me, and he's very good at attacking. Like his defense is also good, but he is more successful when he attacks, like more active approach.
Yes, I like that approach because the best defense is offense. So if he's on the right path, then he probably is getting the right mix of training.
Yeah, thank you, coach. Coach, can we deal with some technical questions? I can see lots of technical questions are coming. So first of all, again, that student, 11-year-old, he's asking, how do I escape when person is holding me from north south and controlling my elbows?
Controlling hips or upper.
Upper body, elbows.
Okay. Mike, you may have to move. Come on.
Time to bring Enrique in the fold. Enrique is stressed, right?
That's why I was here.
Yeah, thanks, bro. You're stressed, right?
Yeah,
All ready to go?
right.
North south.
North south, bro, north south.
So, so first thing I want to do is I don't want him by my hips. Okay. If he tries to go to my hips, all right, what I need to do is I'm going to start to try to take their arms away. Okay. So if he's close to my hips, I use my elbows to start take his arms away. If I can do this, this is going to be good. Okay? You may not always be able to put somebody into an inverted triangle, but if you threaten it, they start to move. Okay? So decide if they're north-south. If they're north-south, if they're by your hips, I'm gonna try to control their arms. Okay? And then I'm gonna feed. I like this one. This is a
Oh shit.
yeah,
Oh shit.
That rarely happens. The point is when you attack, they move. Okay? So if they're by your hips, you're gonna try to feed the arm. So if he moves, I follow his arm, he moves. My hands go on the hips and I slide. Once I'm sliding, I'm gonna try to invert. Okay? There's a couple of different ways to invert. People when they invert, they try to put both feet in. Don't worry about both feet in. Worry about one. Okay? Now the way Enrique's positioned, I have to go on this side because he was a little bit tilted. So let them shoot.
Oh, I love that part when you are inverting under
right.
him, going perpendicular, trapping the elbow.
He's a little bit more on my right side, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna start to feed the arm like I did before, right? On my right side. But as he starts to move, I'm gonna stiff arm in, and then I'm gonna invert. Now I'm gonna try to put my one foot in. Once I have one foot in, I'm free. Usually, if I have one foot in, I'm not just free, but I will submit them. I can take that back, but a lot of times I can keep that arm.
Yeah, I know why you did that down.
So again, I will, if he's close to my hips, I will start to try to feed the arm, okay? Now, as he moves, I already know he's going to move. So I try to see how he's lifting my hips. I stick with him. My hand go on his hips, and now.
Oh, well, I know that. So that's why he's asking because I'm also always controlling him and like inside the elbow and like separating the arm and then going this way, same like you. So that's why he is asking the separating the elbow part.
Did I answer his question?
Yeah, it was on point.
But let's add one more element to this, because sometimes the guy on top, as he starts to feel in danger, he just backs off. That's okay. I have my guard recovery. Okay?
Yeah.
So there's going to be one more possibility that if they feel danger, they just rip out, and then we go into guard recovery.
That's cool, coach. He said, "Thank you, coach. It's really helpful."
Okay, nice. What else we got?
And a second coach again from my student, 19-year-old, is asking how to escape the back position when somebody got body triangle. Same question I asked you around, I think episode 24, 25, the removing the hook one.
Oh.
With the body triangle, back with the body triangle.
Yeah. So tell him to watch episode. So first I try to, so this is bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing, I got to protect my neck. It's always, I got to make sure I don't get choked while I'm trying to escape. It's no longer body triangle. Okay?
That's true.
Now its question is where he's going and how am I going to defend. But when they have a body triangle, I always try to go under their leg. So yeah, this is really, so see how I'm keeping my leg very close so you cannot hook under my leg. All right. So I lift a little bit, and I'm going to swim underneath. So he wants to hook under my left leg, right? So I tried to prevent him from doing that, all right? Then I straighten out my leg, and now no longer he will disengage. And now I will just fight the hooks. I will turn if he tries to stay with me, if I can. Now it's a different game. Then it depends how he's following. You know, a lot of times, especially if he's good at it, he will stay on my back. I would just have to change direction a couple times.
That's true, coach.
There's a video we did with Firaz Zahabi on TriStar Gym channel, Escaping the Back. So there's a lot of good tips on there. It's a free video on YouTube. So if you
Cool.
put my name, it's spelled Karel. Last name is Pravec, Pravec. Firaz Zahabi. Huh?
We also have a playlist.
Oh, it's also on our playlist on the sliverfox BJJ YouTube channel. I don't know how that works, but Mike's telling me that it works.
Guys, please go follow Coach's channel on YouTube, Instagram. You will find a lots of valuable stuff right there. Silver Fox BJJ on YouTube, Silver Fox BJJ on Instagram, right, Coach?
I think Mike says yes. So yes.
That's good.
And Facebook. And Facebook, yes.
Okay, Coach. So
Everywhere
next
it's
question is
You can't miss it.
Silver Fox BJJ. So, Coach, next question is how do you escape from bottom half guard when the guy is controlling your head with the cross face?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's rough. So
Mike, cross face, Mike.
So first of all,
Enrique is very
I
happy
can-
cross facing you.
movement I can do. If his right leg was up, I could do something better. Okay, but he's properly positioning his leg so I can't hook. So you know, again, my biggest problem right now is the cross face. So what I need to do, I need to get inside. You have to get the arm inside. Okay. So if I can't get it inside, he's holding on too tight. What I'm going to do is make sure this hook stays, my right hook stays. I'm going to bump, and as he's making adjustments, I'm weaving my left hand in. Really tight, doing a good job. I will lift my shoulder. See how his head comes up a little bit? So I lift my shoulder, and I bump. And I just weave it in. Once I have this, even if he drives strong, I will bring my second hand in. Once I can push him a little bit away, I start to stretch out my right leg that's underneath him. I don't know if they can see. Can you turn around so they can see? So you, yeah, okay. So he's spinning me. My head is turned. So I'm going to raise my shoulder. And now I'm going to bump. I'm trying to get my hands in. So my left hand is first. I just want to cross face him. And as soon as my hands come in, I will straighten out my bottom leg, my right leg, which now allows me to get my left foot in, feet on the hips, and say goodbye, Enrique. So again, guys, I know this is difficult for white belts for sure, maybe even some blue belts, but at purple belt or brown belt, sometimes people have a problem with their specific game or how their friend or training partner counters their game. So a very important thing to do is if you cannot resolve the whole problem, break up the big problem into smaller problems, okay? In this specific case, so in this case, you have a lot of problems here, okay? My half guard is pretty much useless because I'm squashed. My biggest problem right now is, okay, I'm in half guard. I personally like full guard better than half guard, all right? But I'm pinned, so I have a hard time moving. I know that if I can free my shoulder line and my head, I can move. So I cannot necessarily escape yet, but I can move. So I resolved the first problem first. So if he goes that far, both hands in, straighten out my right leg. So even if he keeps driving his hips in, I can now hip out. I can hip out. Now I resolved the second problem. I can get my hook in, and now I can start to stretch him out. Some guys, once they get here, they might start to lift with a butterfly hook. Me personally, my game is I prefer to stretch them out because now once I stretch them out, I'm going to go into an offensive mode. Okay? So again, if you have a problem and you don't know the answer, try to split the problem into smaller problems and resolve them sequentially. 1, 2, 3, and now you're out. Not just you're out, but you're going after him now.
That's really insightful, coach. So second, another question again from my student. He's asking, coach, transition from armbar to omoplata from the guard.
Transition from armbar to omoplata from the guard.
Okay. Huh?
See, guys, it's just that easy.
I have never said that it's easy.
It looks easy, coach, right? Guys, look how he's controlling the elbow. That's the key part. How he's controlling the elbow. Abhishek, look for that.
One more time, we make the transition. Guys, understand, I want to finish him with the initial arm lock attack. So he's the one who's going to have to defend. So he makes the movement for me to some extent. I just focus on controlling at least one of the arms.
As today, too many attacks on Enrique's arm from last 2 days. Okay, so coach, wait, let me check for the next question.
Okay.
Coach, favorite half butterfly guard pass? Your favorite half butterfly guard pass?
Okay.
It's coming from my coach.
Okay. Watch my foot, my left foot.
I don't go so you are switching your hips, right?
Yeah, I don't go through. Because if you go through, you're going to be vulnerable to leg attacks. And now the question is, which way does he defend less?
Oh, shit.
So I will go left or right, depending which way he's defending less.
Coach, one more time, please.
So this time, his leg is following me. So I will make sure that I pin it. And as you know, regardless what we're doing, everything results in a submission.
That's true. That's true. So you are switching your hips in the starting. So you are switching your hips in the starting and then hooking his upper leg with your other leg, and then you are stepping back, right?
Yeah. So initially, I got to control his positioning a little bit, right? So I have right hand grip on his left wrist, and I'm going to drive in my knee. Now, no, keep it. Depends. If his knee is outside, I have to be more careful. So I'm sinking my hips. If his knee is inside my body, then it's easy. Then I'm done. Okay? Now, if his knee is outside, it's a little more difficult because then you got to you really got to keep your weight down. So what I'll do is I'll pressure forward, high up, but keeping my hips down. Now, depends. Start to lift. So as he starts to lift, I try to kick out. If he stops me, I move the same leg, in this case my left leg, forward to get past his knee.
That's cool, coach. Understandable. So, should I say hashtag pray for Enrique?
Pray for Enrique, or he should have stretched.
Yeah. He's already getting stretched if he didn't do before. He's getting stretched anyways, coach.
He's stretching him out, so he's getting stretched.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, coach. So one more question. So one guy is asking that when somebody is holding you, so for example, the guy had a half guard, and the upper guy is crossing his body to the side, and like stepping the elbow over, and bringing the down leg inside, so he cannot find the hips, and going over his body to the other side. How to escape from that?
Okay. For the bottom guy?
Yeah, for the bottom guy, coach.
So what I'll try to do is get my hips off the ground. I want to get a hook if I can. So my hips off the ground, and I'm trying to brace with my hand. I don't want him to change his position. So what I'll do is hips off the ground and try to feed to this. If this has to stay glued to him, if I don't, he's going to kick out and pass my guard. All right? So hips off the ground, feed his leg with my right leg, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow, but now he can, if, you going to hunt for my back already? We'll go over that next. So now
He's ready, coach. He's ready to roll over.
I can lift because I reach my maximum lift. But now I'm going to try to go on my shoulder. All right. So I will, if I can't lift, he's now sitting on my hips, so I can't lift my hips. So what I'll try to do is turn sideways. Now I can hook. Notice that my right foot stays bent, so he cannot, as I'm hooking, so he cannot just kick out. Okay? So my right leg stays bent and feeds his leg to my left. I start to lift with my left, and I have to go on my shoulder. You cannot just lift because you're going to run out of room. All right? So now I start to go on my shoulder, and I'm continue to drive. We got it. Now I'm not just out, but I'm hunting for his back now.
Oh, that's really helpful, coach. CFC said, "Beast in action." I asked these questions specifically for you guys. Now you try to hold me across side now. This was happening to me, coach, most of the time.
Most of the time, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably, I actually use this with Enrique a lot, but he winds up trying to hunt for my back. But anytime, so somebody sits out. So if they're low, I'll go lower to my hips. If they're low to my hips, I can kind of frame out. But if they're high up, it doesn't matter. I turn sideways. Now I feed the hook. I know that if I screw this up, if I screw it up, he's going to be So if I miss it, he's going to be kicking out. So I'm going to try to do, I'm already going to try to transition. Oh. So I know
Yeah,
that
that's true.
if I don't properly feed his leg to my legs, he will be kicking out. So if I miss that opportunity, I will try to follow him with sort of a hip or shoulder heist over to change the dynamics. I don't want him to just kick out and pass my guard. But usually, if I manage to so Enrique house from my back. I will try to,
Yes.
this is going to be a battle. Huh? Well, you wanted to hunt from my back, so that's why. So now it's a bit of a scramble here because he's hunting for my back. I prevailed.
Oh,
But anytime
nice.
that the guy sits out like this on me, I will try to hook that leg and initiate the sweep.
Cool, coach. And so one more question again from my student. He's asking, what do you think will be the evolution of the BJJ in Corona situation, like due to Corona lockdown? What will be the evolution in the future for BJJ?
I don't know as far as technical evolution of BJJ. I think a lot more people are turning into videos. The BJJ community has provided a lot of free videos, so there's a lot of resources to people that can do that. I think there is, people understand also better what BJJ is about. It's not just about the technique, but it's also about the social aspect of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and training martial arts together. People are starting to realize and understand how important that is. Because people can still drill. Some people they're locked up with somebody that that trains also. So they have a training, but it's not very training. They miss their teammate. They miss sort of different styles of games. So I don't think BJJ itself is going to evolve hugely over this time. I think what's developing more is different ways to deliver BJJ to people around the globe, I think. And that's a negative
Question, please ask.
negative. Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
No, coach, you were stuck. So I was saying, guys, if you have any other question, please ask now.
Okay. So I think it might be, people looking at videos is a positive as well as negative. The positive aspect of, videos being more used, even more than, 6 months ago for BJJ as an entertainment, as a form to learn, because there's no other way, is a positive because now you have access to a lot of new techniques. The negative part is that sometimes people, they go into their academy and say, hey, I saw this guy do a, flying berimbolo with a double arm lock twist, and he doesn't know how to pass guard or doesn't know how to escape mount. So people need to pay attention to that, okay, you might be seeing some high level techniques. So learn that, pick it up, go back to it, focus on the fundamentals.
Coach, due to Instagram time restriction, the video will be dropped automatically. So please join back. I will start the live again. So everybody else, please join back. It's going to drop. Guys, join back fast. Hi Rene bro. Hi Shubham, Dipesh. Other question, ask now, ask.
We're back.
Sahil, ask your questions. And we are, we are back in the live, guys. So, coach, the next question was from my friend. He's asking, what should be the approach and mindset for working personals for training jiu-jitsu?
Working people, you should try to figure out how much time you have available to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I recommend maybe start out 3 days a week and eventually maybe train 5 days a week if you can. 3 days a week, if you can train 3 days a week, that's perfectly good. It's even twice a week, you will still progress. You know, a guy that trains 4 times a week will progress maybe faster, assuming similar level of athleticism. But you got to look at your own circumstances. How difficult is your job? How much time you have? What other responsibilities you have? But try to train anywhere from 2 to 5 days a week, and try to enjoy it. Especially, you're going in, if you're a working person and you're 38 years old. I don't know. Do they have people 38 years old training jiu-jitsu in India? Yes.
Yeah, we have. This guy is almost my age, and he's coming four times a week right now.
Good. That's perfect. That's perfect. So you have to figure out what your time frame is, and try to go 4 times a week, and try to enjoy it, and try to understand if there's a 20-year-old in that academy as well that lives with, makes his laundry and does everything for him. He has no responsibilities, and he can train 3 hours a day every single day. You do not compete with that guy. He's on his own path. Don't worry about his path. Worry about your own.
That's true, coach. That's true. So, coach, what should be the mindset as in general when we are training because of this lockdown? Because now we don't have a partner in as usual, and gyms are closed anyway. So how should we mix it up?
No, it depends on your circumstances. If you have somebody at your home that you can train with, that's great. Then you can set up something where you could train, you could drill. You're not going to be able to go live maybe because for that you need really good mats and make sure you don't get hurt. But if you have somebody to drill with, if not, a grappling dummy or even homemade grappling dummy is good to drill some things. And I'd encourage you to watch people that have a similar game or excel at things you're trying to incorporate into your game. That is different for different people. It's based, again, on body style, personality, size, athleticism, and so forth. And also on your level of development in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So if you're just starting out, you might want to learn how to shrimp. How do you bump your hips? How do you carry somebody's pressure on you? So I would watch those videos. If you're a good purple belt that competes a lot, I would be looking for things that help you with things that either you got caught with or your opponents kind of are countering you with, to figure out ways. You don't have to necessarily drill it. If you see it 100 times, it will retain in your body and your brain to some extent. So sometimes if I'm watching, sometimes some black belt matches at the World Championship could be like watching paint dry. It's very boring. But you might watch 10 minutes to see 3 or 5 seconds of something very interesting. And I may watch that 3 seconds 10 times to make sure that I understand the transition better, So you should be looking, not necessarily look for a guy or a coach or instructional of somebody whose game you want to emulate, whose style you want to emulate, or he has things that are very relevant to your game at your stage of development.
Cool, coach. And next question is really a good one. Again, from my friend, he's asking, how should we train beginners when everybody is focusing on fitness and strength? How should we take an approach? What should our approach to train beginners, complete beginners?
You have to protect beginners, unless it's one of those beginners that comes in and goes balls to the wall because he wants to show everybody how strong and powerful and good he is. Okay?
Yeah, it happens.
Him, you teach a different lesson. Otherwise, you protect beginners. Put them with better training partners. Put them with people that can get the better of them, but decide to help them. Help them learn technique and absorb technique. So that's how we have to approach it. You know, beginners are coming in, they're entrusting themselves with us to help them navigate the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu journey. So we have to help them. But if they're coming in and they want to show you, not learn, they want to show you what they already know, then it's going to be a different lesson.
It happens, coach, especially with those bodybuilders coming in from the gym. They are thinking like they are lifting 100 kg bench press. So
yes, that's you cannot treat them like a beginner because they will hurt you.
yeah.
They're not coming in to learn. They're coming in to see what they can do. It's almost like a fight. They don't want to.
Yeah.
They don't want to learn. They will. You hope to educate them enough where they understand the power of jiu-jitsu, and they will eventually become students. But a lot of times, initially, they're not coming in to learn. They're coming in to show you. So
just to satisfy their ego, no? They are coming just to satisfy their ego.
Yes, absolutely.
So again, the somewhat related question again from my student, he's asking, so how should we roll, coach? Should we avoid aggressive people because they can give us injuries?
No. If you're banged up, avoid aggressive people. If the aggressive people don't treat you as a good training partner, don't roll with them. And that's the job of the coaches, you know, to a large extent, and teachers and instructors to help watch that. Okay, you have to watch for your students. You cannot afford to have, you know, a 38-year-old mother who weighs, you know, 120 pounds, go with a goon who's 100 kilo, 220 pounds, who doesn't care. He's not interested in helping her learn. He's interested in showing her how good he is. Okay, no, you don't go with her, you go with him.
That's true, coach.
So you have
coach,
to
one more question.
Yeah, every school has to have, and then initially you have to do it yourself. I had to do it myself for many years. Is you have to have a team, yeah, a team, or initially it's just you of enforcer, a guy that basically tries to make sure that everybody's there for the right reasons, and the right reason is to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We can go hard. I have no problem going hard. I've gotten cut going hard. I've gotten, you know, hurt going hard, but that's okay as long as the intention is to, we're here to train, we're here to learn. The minute it's like, I don't care about that, I want to show you how good I am. It's a very different thing now.
That's true, coach. Coach, next question comes from my friend. He's asking, importance of strength and flexibility in jiu-jitsu. Should we train them together or separately? Strength and flexibility.
I'm a bigger fan of flexibility. Less strength is good. If you can train 4 days a week, or you can do 2 days a week of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and 2 days of strength training, train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 4 days a week. In 10 years, your game will be better. In 5 years, your game will be better. So there is some people that believe a lot in strength and conditioning, but it's to me it's sort of an additive. It's something, if you have time, in addition to your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you should have a lot of time, and you're basically treating Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu almost like a professional endeavor. You should be doing strength and conditioning. If you're just doing to learn to be most effective, spend the time on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu versus splitting your time. Your game will be better in 5 years. Again, if you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 4 times a week, and you take a guy with similar level of athleticism who trains twice a week and lifts twice a week, the guy that trains 4 days a week will have a better game. Now, as far as flexibility is a good thing to practice. What I usually do before training, I usually do a warm-up, a dynamic warm-up. After training, I do just stretching to get more static stretching to get things back to where they're supposed to be. But I'm not I don't lift. I only lift guys off me. That's my only strength. So, but Enrique does, and you could feel that he's stronger than I am. He's a little bit bigger, but he's stronger. But so I try to stay ahead of him technically, but sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, that's understandable, coach. So, yeah, Enrique is strong, I know, but he's not stretching. That's the different matter, but he's strong.
Yeah, good game too, though.
Yeah, always hunting for your back or counter for your technique, which you are explaining to us.
That's why that's why you can see why I have to always end with a submission on Roll with the Fox. I have to go after him. If I don't, he starts hunting.
Okay, coach. So this was really helpful, and like you helped us a lot. Thanks for giving your time. So I will try my best after ending the corona situation. I will try my best. If you wants to come to India to teach us like a seminar or something, it will be a big pleasure for us. And you are always welcome, coach.
Yeah, we will at some point. I have some, at least we've made some friends in India. So eventually I plan to visit. So somebody I just saw somebody ask, "Where's my academy?" Guys, if you want to have information on
That's
the academy,
my student again, coach.
Oh, so it's okay. Sliverfoxbjj.com. It's very easy. So all the information is there. Links to the YouTube channel, I think, right? Everything is there. So sliverfoxbjj.com. Can't miss it.
Cool, coach. Anything you want to add or say regarding corona situation? Some last words?
No, guys, I just, I think this is one of those things that, I do believe, people as well as the governments don't quite know how to handle. I think people are trying to do their best. There will be a lot of frustration, but this will pass, and we will return back not to new normal, guys. It's not going to be a new normal. It's going to be a normal, because the new normal, it's not. You cannot change people's behavior that dramatically, and I believe we will return back to normal. It may take a couple months, but eventually we will return back to normal, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys train and enjoy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, sure, coach. Can I say a few words also? So, guys, coach gave us his precious time today, so we are very thankful for him and the things he said, especially about the people's behavior. Again, guys, we cannot control everyone, but at least we can control ourselves, right? So we have to be responsible in this situation. We cannot think like, okay, we are strong, we will not get infected, and we will go out or something. Guys, this lockdown will keep extending if we will not behave responsibly, right, coach? Because maybe we will not get infected, or maybe we will get mild symptoms, but we can pass it to other peoples, maybe some old age peoples, maybe some kids, and this will really not be a pleasant situation. We have to be responsible. Either we should not get infected, And by any means, if we get infected, we should not pass it to others. And guys, really be considerate, like coach saying every time, help others. There are peoples who need our help, who cannot even find one time of food. Just try to help them, maybe with some food or something, animals. And guys, this is the time when we have to act together, like all the BJJ community and other peoples in general. We have to, so we, these things we were not considering before, but you can see right now that it's getting some good effect on nature also, that rivers are getting in good shape, and environment is getting better, less population and all, animals are happy. So we don't have to be so much compulsive all the time that a virus has to come and teach us. We can do this by ourselves also. We can do once in a year, maybe three weeks lockdown, like, and things can get better. And this has to be coming from within. Again, guys, same like jiu-jitsu, you want to learn, it has to come from within. It doesn't matter how good your coach is or how much we force you to learn. You cannot learn unless you really want to do it. It's the same way. We have to deal with the situation. We have to take care of our friends, our family, our parents, and our, obviously, our training partners and all. So it's sometimes people think like, what can alone man do? What will happen if I will not get? Guys, if maybe it's not a big change, but if we start changing, if we start acting responsibly, one person at a time can create a big change. Slow, one brick at a time can make a big house, right? Like coach says, Rome was not built in a day, right, coach?
Yeah.
So we have to take a stand. Either we keep behaving irresponsibility, and people will keep dying, or either we once and for all take care of this situation and come back to normal life. Right, coach?
Yeah.
So guys, again, we are all in this together. We are really thankful for you, coach, to come and help us with the techniques and that valuable knowledge. Let's keep in touch. Maybe someday we can do this again, and we'll keep following you guys. Follow him, go follow him on YouTube, Instagram, and always watch and listen, because that's the 20, 30 years, maybe 40 years of knowledge that doesn't come easy. That comes after lots of practice, lots of repetition and all. We are nowhere near to them. So guys, take a note. Because I hope I didn't bore you so much or stretched your time long. It's okay, coach. If you want to say something, or should we end it?
No. What's the question?
No, I'm saying, is it okay, coach? Is it enough, or should we end it, or you want to say something?
No, I think you said it all. I think it's good. Yeah, I'm happy to answer your questions. So we can do this again down the road. And in the meantime, I will see you probably tomorrow on on another edition.
Yeah,
of
sure.
Fox.
I'm coming there every day, without a doubt. Sure. Okay, coach. Really, thanks, guys. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon. Take care. Bye bye. Namaste and all. Thanks,
Thank you.
coach.
Thank you.